walking on the moon than that happening. The
Interesting.
guy hit literally in his first year on the Yankees, he hit more home runs than he did in 6 years in the minors.
That's crazy.
Like, he doesn't have that kind of power. No, it's
That
the
freaking ballpark, man.
It's that bandbox of that ballpark.
But he's still playing there, and they've still got that lineup around him.
Well, I think two things. One, they're going to deaden the ball. Two, the Yankees are going to get. I believe that the three teams that are going to get it are the Braves, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays are all going to
answer me a question. So I have Torres 10, but the guy I have ranked. I'm sorry, I take it back. I have Torres 11, and then the guy I have ranked 12, Javi Baez. You're a Cubs fan. Who do you think's more of a lock to hit 30, Torres or Baez? Because I think it's Torres.
Baez.
Really? See, I disagree with that, man. Baez, I'm a little concerned about him. I'm gonna let his track record carry him where he's at, but I'm a little concerned about the batting average last year. He had a batting average close to freaking the Mendoza line last year.
No, his batting average. He's not somebody.
He had 203 last year.
I would say, like, if I were drafting him, I would not expect him to hit more than like 255. I would be okay
with 250.
I would think there's a chance you're going to be pleasantly surprised and get like a 272 or 275.
Sure.
But you gotta be conservative when you're putting your guy in there. I think the 2 or 3 is an anomaly. Like, last year was a screwed up year, and a lot of things that happened last year just don't really happen.
Sure.
Now, Andrea said that Baez complained about not being able to look at his batting stances between innings.
Really?
And yeah, that was something that they did with the Houston thing, is that they limited access to.
That's weird. Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense.
They limited access to computer film completely last year, and so that's a reason why a lot of guys did.
Are they going to bring that back this year?
I don't know. It's like, the truth is, right now, as much as everyone hated the Astros for banging the garbage cans, it's like on the list of things that you care about in baseball, that's down there a little bit. We don't really care anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Sure.
So
sure.
I mean, not that we want them to cheat per se, but they could loosen up and give them that back. Because why couldn't you look at your own batters? Well, I guess because the other team's catchers behind them.
Sure.
Anyway,
all right. Where was I? Let's see here. We were talking about.
We just finished.
I'm a little higher on Marcus Semien than the industry seems to be at this point. I don't know why.
Yeah, I had to rank him too, because he's going to play second base for the.
I'm going to rank him higher than a lot. His ADP is around 143, dude. I would be comfortable taking him right after I took Correa or Baez or even Torres. I'd take him in that range right there. I just love Marcus Semien, dude. I mean, he was in the MVP consideration 2 years ago, and he was outstanding his entire tenure in Oakland. And I believe he's going to a way better hitter's ballpark in Toronto. And I think that we could see a monster. Semien, to me, I see value written all over him, where his ADP currently sits at 143.
I didn't really have it because those are the new guys on my second base list.
Sure.
And so Marcus Semien, I have him ranked as the number 10 second baseman, but he could be the number 9 second baseman, because the other one is Jonathan Villar.
I love Villar too. He was the next guy on my list.
Because of the stolen base thing, it's like, I don't know which way it's going to go. I think I would take Villar over Semien. That's why I have Villar at 9 right now. But I could be flipping the other way, because I think that Villar is probably the only guy in baseball. Well, Trey Turner probably has 30 stolen bases in him. Like there's a 90% chance.
Another guy I like that has the potential to run, though, is Tommy Edman. And I'm going to rank him. He's ranked right there, because I think he's got the potential to steal 30 bases in St. Louis.
I think Edman will steal 30. Now, I think he could 20-20, luckily, if you get a little luck on his side. But 30 is I mean, there are a lot of guys that could do 30.
There was just a lot of discussion about him being a guy that was going to run a whole lot last year, and that didn't kind of pan out in the shortened season.
Yeah, I have Edman as, like, for instance, for stolen bases, I would go with, at second base, I have him as 24th, but like, if I was really going for stolen bases, I would pick John Birdie or Nick Madrigal ahead of him, or Colton Wong.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Colton Wong, I like him there.
I
was going to say, after Tommy Edman, we got Didi Gregorius. I've always liked Didi. I thought he got a bad rap last year, and and he's another guy that screams value to me at 167 ADP. He's going to hit for some kind of power. I mean, I think he's a lock for 25 homers. He's going to hit decent batting average.
Yeah, he's a decent hitter, and he's going to be in that 20 range, in the mid 20s in home runs.
You got to figure he was coming off of an injury last year, and I don't know. I see a bounce back season and maybe reestablishing his value a little bit. There's a lot of shortstops I like in the later half of the draft, and so that's
I was saying about taking 2 shortstops. Didi Gregorius
is such a deep position.
Who would you rather have, Didi Gregorius or Whit Merrifield?
I would rather have Didi Gregorius, especially because I know I don't want to pay it. I've been off the Whit Merrifield bandwagon for probably about 3 seasons now. I was in on him his first couple years where he was really, really hot shit, but people started to overpay for him.
Didi Gregorius actually compares favorably to Ozzie Albies.
Yeah.
You know, like that's how the second base has got that one guy at the top, but they have a lot of these mediocre guys. This is how far we're going on the shortstop thing. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. I've only got a couple more to go. I only took 20. So we got Jake Cronenworth. We don't know how much playing time he's in. We mentioned him earlier. He could get a decent amount of play time. His bat just impresses me so much. And, he was in the consideration for Rookie of the Year last year.
I would say this, but he played for USA Baseball in the qualifications for the Olympics.
Sure.
He was one of the 2 guys that in that game looked better than Joe Adell.
Nice. We got Jorge Polanco, who, man, I love Jorge Polanco too. I think people sleep on him.
Going to be a second baseman.
He's listed currently as a shortstop.
He's going to be a shortstop, but Andrew Simmons is going to play shortstop. He's going to move to second base.
But he's still being drafted.
He's going to get second base. I'm saying I have to rank him 2, is what I'm saying. He's another guy, and I have him down a little bit. I have him down in that Gene Segura, Tommy Edman range in there. But he is a good player.
He's a good player, man, and he's a year removed from hitting 22 and 80. 295. Those are decent numbers for where he's being drafted. He's a serviceable player as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. No, he is. You can wind up picking him to be your middle infielder and wind up with 3 shortstops, or his second baseman and wind up with 3 shortstops, which is probably the way to go.
And then my last guy, 20, is going to be Paul DeJong. DeJong, how the fuck you say his name? He's going to be. I mean, he's going to be the man in St. Louis this year. With Colton Wong's gone. He's got more playing time. I mean, he's always had a decent pop to his bat. He's just not somebody I'm super excited about.
I'm trying to think of. There are a couple guys that. I'm trying to think if there's anybody who has shortstop eligibility that I think you're missing.
I don't think I'm missing anybody. Chris Taylor could be up there. Andres Jimenez from Cleveland. Ha-Seng Kim from fucking San Diego, but he's going to be more of a second base guy. David Fletcher, Castro, Mauricio Dubon from San Francisco. But I mean, I'm not sold on what he did last year. Wander Franco has probably the most upside of any of the guys around there. We don't know if he's going to get.
Last year, going into the season, you were really, 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 really big on Orlando Arcia.
I liked Arcia, and he had a decent year last year. God, his ADP is way down here, freaking 500 almost. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's way down there.
God damn, that's crazy. I actually had him in the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational last year. He had a decent season for me.
I agree with you. With the second baseman, because of the fact that, I mean, I'm not going to go through it in any great detail because there's sort of like this, whatever you want to call Jorge Polanco level, like that's a good baseball player, but that is an average fantasy baseball player. You know what I mean? Because everybody's picking superstar teams. There's such a sort of averageness to these guys that, like I had to go pretty deep because I had to include guys like Donovan Solano, who's pretty a lock for whatever.
I like Solano.
And whatever, but yeah, I thought that there'd be a little more depth at shortstop, but maybe there isn't.
Can I just comment real quick before you get into your rankings?
Well, I don't know if we're going to go to my rankings over 10.
Let's go for it, man. I mean, I'll text my wife on it. Sure, yeah, I gotta go for it. I'll be fine as long as I get out here by 8:30. You got about 20 minutes, so 21 minutes. I think you can do that in 21.
Well, yeah, because we can skip a few things. So I sort of mentioned them on the way.
Perfect.
Okay, so number one, the only player that's an A player is DJ LeMahieu.
Love him. I'm targeting him in every draft this year.
Yeah, I think that is the thing. Like if you can get him in that, like one of the reasons to pick at the front end is if you can get him like on that second back end, that's a great second. Like whatever.
Is. Yeah, I'm just looking at that. His ADP is 28. That would be ideal to take like a Acuna or somebody and come back and get him.
I'm thinking like, what if you had like the third pick and you wound up like having Trout, Faldy, and then you anyway. Because it could happen, or you have Juan Soto and DJ LeMahieu.
I would be all over having Soto and LeMahieu. That'd be a lovely combo to have.
Anyway, so number 2, 3 is Albies and Merrifield. Some people said that Merrifield's running was over, but he actually stole 11 bases last year, so he's still running a bit. And that's where a lot of the value at second base is going to come from. It's going to come from stolen bases.
Sure.
Right. The only guy that pops into that like B level is Brandon Lau. He had a very nice year last year, and he is the only second baseman in Statcast that has a hard hit rate above 10%. The only guy. So based on the hard hit, he might be better than he is, and that's a guy that you might get some value. And then I would still number 5, even though he is his average draft position is 100 behind some of these other guys is Jose Altuve. I'd have him at number 5.
That's what I was just going to ask you, man. Do you buy into the demise of Jose Altuve? Because it seems like everyone else is.
No, this thing. I was in it. There are some guys that I really like in the industry, right?
Sure.
And very, very few of them are still around. They're all sort of retired and moved to other things. But I still talk to Lenny, and I still talk to Tim McLeod. I was in Tim McLeod's first draft, and Tim McLeod drafted Jose Altuve with the second pick in the second round of the draft. And it's like, yeah, I'm on board with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't buy into the demise of Jose Altuve yet. I mean, he showed enough for me in the playoffs last year.
If you can get Altuve with, I think that 100 is a little deep. Yeah, I don't think he's going to last that long. I think he's going to inch up. But if you can get him with like the 85th pick in the draft, the 81st pick in the draft, that's a steal.
Dude, it says 80 pieces. The earliest he's been drafted for Jose Altuve has been 72, and the latest he's been drafted is 162. That is insane. If you can get on Jose Altuve in like the 14th round of a draft, I would lose my mind, dude.
I rank these guys the top 5. There's almost no chance I'm going to have Merrifield, Albies, or Lau.
What about Biggio?
Well, that's the next set is Castanera, Jonathan Villar, and Craig Biggio. Those three. I think that Castanera is the better hitter of the bunch. Biggio has this thing where the stolen bases sort of prop him up. The big problem with Biggio is that even in the minors, he was a 235 hitter.
I was going to say he does not hit for average.
Yeah, so if you're an OBP league, it's a different story because he's passable in an OBP league, but he's actually a -1 on the average side. And I don't think, even though he's stolen a fair amount of bases, I don't think he's a candidate for 30 stolen bases because he doesn't get thrown out, which shows that even though he's fairly fast, he doesn't run willy-nilly.
Gotcha.
You don't go 16 for 16 a year being a runner. You know what I mean?
Sure.
There's this thing with it. So I decided to put into the Statcast like the sprint speeds, and I think like Villar. So I'm gonna give you 4 names: Villar, Altuve, Biggio, Hura. Who's the fastest of those 4?
I would have to say Altuve probably.
Yeah, it actually is Altuve. Believe it or not.
Yeah, he's really fast.
You know who's faster? This is based on times 90 feet. Who's faster, Villar or Biggio?
I would have to go with Villar.
Trick question. They tied at 4 seconds first in 90 feet, and then here is 4.08. So he's got the speed, but I don't think it's ever part of his game to run willy nilly, and you sort of need to really have a commitment to running to get to the bigger numbers on stolen bases.
Gotcha.
Right. So I have those guys. So I have Hura 1 based on his hitting. He's the best hitter of the bunch. Villar 7, Biggio 8. So right, 5, 6, 7, 8 is Biggio.
Yep.
I don't have an 8. So 8 is Biggio. 9 is Marcus Semien.
Okay.
He just moved up from 10 to 9.
Is he going to gain second base eligibility this year?
Yeah, he's going to play second base for them. They have who's their shortstop? Bichette.
Bo Bichette's there.
Bichette's going to play shortstop.
And then I've heard Kevin Biggio is going to go to third. And then freaking what's his name's going to play, and Vlad's going to play first.
Yeah, Simeon's going to play second. He's going to be the second baseman. He's not going to start out there. He's going to be the second baseman.
Yeah.
And then Kettle Marte, based on what he did 2 years ago, and the fact that he's my number 10. Then it gets a little bit weirder because this is where I said, like, remember on the third baseman I said like Max Muncy was a guy that I didn't really believe much in, but considering that this is so mediocre, if you could get a guy that hits 32 home runs, they're that. So the next 7 guys I all think are in the same ballpark, but for different reasons. And it starts with Tommy La Stella at 11, and it ends with Max Muncy at 16. So
you have Muncy that much lower than La Stella?
Yeah, I think that La Stella only one time was the starter somewhere, and that one time he was an all-star until he got hurt. Now,
Yeah, he was
if you want,
outstanding.
if you want to